going on? How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's having a good day so far. Georgia Tech football just got very fun in the run game. So, we're just going to get straight into that. First off, I'm not going to go too in depth, but because I don't want to hold you here too long. But just going to kind of get my thoughts and opinions and run some numbers by you and kind of what to look forward to with your new running back. So, let's get straight into it. Justice Haynes is now a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket. So, Brent Key and staff just went out and picked up one of the best returning running backs, probably the best returning running back in the entire country, and Justice Haynes. So Justice Haynes was a former super hyped up recruit out of high school. This is a grand slam pickup for Georgia Tech. You know, there are some questions whether Georgia Tech is going to go get a transfer portal quarterback or not, because they targeted a lot of guys. They targeted Bo Perbula. They targeted Anthony Calandria. They targeted many other transfer quarterbacks. I believe DJ Lagway was in there as well. And you didn't land any of them. Unfortunately, you didn't land any of them, which I was very shocked by. I definitely thought that Georgia Tech was going to land a pretty solid transfer portal quarterback, and there's just not really any out there that I think is worth even taking anymore. You know, all the top guys are already off the board. So I think you're going to stick with Graham Knowles for next year, if I just had to make a prediction right now. Now, Graham Knowles has shown some major flashes. I mean, he's thrown one pass for 84 yards and a touchdown. That's some type of major flash. He's a super big quarterback. If you do remember the freshman that's 6'7" and 230, so he's massive. But anyways, back to Justice Haynes, because I don't want to get too off topic. That leads to something else that I'm going to say. So when you're thinking of that quarterback situation, you're starting a freshman, you're starting a young guy that doesn't have much experience, but you believe in him. You have faith in him. You went out and you recruited him pretty heavy to come in, and you landed him. So obviously you have some faith in him. Justice Haynes is going to take massive amounts of pressure off of Graham Knowles back next year. So like I said, you bring in a young quarterback. He's starting as a redshirt freshman or a sophomore next year. I'm not too sure. One of the two. You got to have a good run game if you're a young quarterback. And Justice Haynes, you have one of the best run games in college football. Now, Georgia Tech has had massive success with running backs these past few years, I would say. I think Georgia Tech's brought in and developed some elite running backs, I would say, over these years. But that was under Buster Faulkner. Now, Buster Faulkner is at Florida now. So are you really going to develop these running backs at the same level? I trust Brent Key to bring in the right staff and do so. I think that Brent Key's a very good head coach that's going to bring in the right staff, which he's done in the past. He's brought in great staff in the past. So I think that he's going to do the same thing. I think you won't see much fallback from this Georgia Tech offense next year. And let me just tell you this. Justice Haynes makes Georgia Tech, like, you might think, I hear some people saying that Georgia Tech might take a step back because Haynes King is gone, obviously. And he was a big part of that because his ability to run and use his legs and really throw off these defenses as well, especially when you mix up a good run game in with your tailbacks. Justice Haynes can single-handedly carry this team in the ACC. I think so. I think he's going to take massive amounts of pressure off of Graham Knowles, and I think it's going to really elevate Graham Knowles' game to another level as well, because you're going to have a better run game to rely on as well. So the run opens up the pass, and the pass opens up the run. I think it's going to work both ways for this team next year. Now, I do want to jump into some numbers. So last year at Michigan, Justice Haynes went for 857 yards, and that was only in 6 games before he went down with a season-ending injury. Easily on pace to be a 1,000-yard rusher. Yes, it was a run-heavy offense, but I think you're going to be in another run-heavy offense. I expect Justice Haynes to go well over 1,000 yards for Georgia Tech. That's all I'm going to say. He had 10 touchdowns in those carries. Only 121 carries, by the way. Averaged 7.1, which was one of the highest in the country, one of the highest in college football. He played against Michigan State last year, had 152 yards and 2 touchdowns in that single game. He's a super explosive back. He's going to make huge plays. He's a guy who you could really heavily rely on in the run game, and he has big breakaway ability. If you look at his tape, you see him break off massive runs for Michigan these past few years. He's been super dynamic on that offense because now he's starting to get better at the receiving tailback end. So I think you'll see him involved in some passing games as well. And I think that's going to also come in handy for Graham Knowles. And that also falls to what I was saying. It kind of takes some pressure off of him because, like I said, when you're a young quarterback, you don't want to take too many deep shots downfield if you don't have to. So I think you're going to have a very reliable check down there in Justice Haynes. I think it's an outstanding move. You know, super explosive, like I said. He's going to make huge plays. Big breakaway ability, like I also just said. But he's one of the best running backs in the country. He has the ability to be one of the best, probably the best running back in the country next year. I'm not saying he's going to be, but his ceiling is that high. His ceiling is extremely high. He's going to be playing pros one day. Like, he's going to be a running back in the NFL, 100%. I would be willing to bet whatever on it. Good gaining yards after contact. You know, like I said, he's lately improved as a receiver. He is one of the most productive high school running backs in Georgia prep history. So he started his career at Alabama, went over to Michigan, had very much success at Michigan, because at Alabama he wasn't really getting the reps that, you know, he should have been getting, I guess, because he was in a crowded running back room. So he did make that switch over to Michigan and had 2 outstanding seasons with Michigan, or 1.5 outstanding seasons with Michigan. Now he's over at Georgia Tech, which I think in the ACC, this guy is going to be a major problem for defenses. He was a 5-star running back, and I think he was the number 1 running back in his class, if healthy. Like I said, I think he's going to be the best running back in the ACC if he can stay healthy. I think that's hands down. So yeah, enough rambling. I just want to come on here and kind of explain how good of a running back you're getting. And if you're a Georgia Tech fan, you should be absolutely thrilled for this, because I think it helps. First off, it helps your whole offense, because a good run game can go very far. And it also helps your young quarterback if you do decide to stick with Graham Knowles. So yeah, man, if I'm a Georgia Tech fan, I will be absolutely thrilled for this. If you are a Georgia Tech fan watching this, then let me know in the comments what you think about getting Justice Haynes. And yeah, that'll do it for this video. I greatly appreciate you guys. You guys showed me a massive amount of support on the Georgia Tech quarterback video that I did post. So I greatly appreciate you guys for that. And yeah, if you did enjoy this, I greatly appreciate it if you would stick around and maybe consider subscribing to the channel, because I'm going to be doing some more Georgia Tech content as well. I think this is a pretty fun team to cover. So yeah, stay tuned for those, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.